So let's now have that conversation with Duncan Okatch, who is a lawyer. Duncan, does the IEBC really have powers to bar anyone from vying based on some of the allegations they made on the 106 on their list?
Akisa, generally the IEBC has constitutional powers to bar any candidate from vying, but based on the thresholds placed in both the Constitution and in statute. That leads me to the specific issue we are looking at in terms of the 106. The IEBC by itself has not barred any candidate. It has actually narrowed down to this particular number, sent the numbers to the IEBC, and told the IEBC to actually deal with that in as far as barring is concerned. Akisa will tell you that IEBC, and I've had, I think, a commissioner called Chumo saying that actually they don't have the power to bar a candidate on the basis of an allegation, on the basis of an accusation, or even on the basis of an ongoing case, or even on the basis of a conviction when there is an appeal that is ongoing. And that is actually what the law says. That is actually what I'm hearing the former registrar saying, and that is actually the law as we read it as lawyers in this country.
So what does this mean? Do we have weaknesses in our constitution where you have to exhaust all the avenues when you are accused of something before you're actually barred from running?
Akisa, I will tell you that Kenyans were very clear in terms of what they wanted, and that is why the drafters of this particular constitution, having been informed by the wishes of the Kenyans, thought it wise to have Chapter 6 of the Constitution. And Chapter 6, actually the spirit behind it is not to bar, is actually not to allow persons to even subject themselves as aspirants or contestants for any public position when there are aspersions already cast either on your character or either in terms of your past. And that is basically the spirit as we see it from Chapter 6. And it has actually been enshrined now in terms of the statute, the Integrity Act, which is now a law in Kenya. However, Kisa, we went wrong as Kenyans. Because once we have a constitution or a law is only as good as the implementation behind it. We soon after 2010, we had the ICC issues around the country. And none other than the current president and his deputy were actually accused of heinous crimes, crimes against humanity, which are crimes that cannot even be juxtaposed to the normal issues that other candidates have in this country. The threshold, if you look at it at that particular point, was that if we apply the Constitution strictly, it would actually mean that even the president and the deputy will not have vied. And this matter was subjected to the High Court. And the High Court, I think, having been influenced maybe by also what was going on in terms of the public aspect, maybe shied away from actually declaring that. But again, this matter never saw its way up to the Court of Appeal and to the Supreme Court, so that we'll have had a ruling, maybe by the Supreme Court, which will have settled this matter. But based on what we have now in terms of the law, and you know, the High Court actually has a binding authority over any other court, so that decision is binding upon all these other courts, unless it is actually appealed or overturned by the Court of Appeal or the Supreme Court.
So what, the IEBC is engaging in an exercise in futility here?
Automatically, and they know it better. Actually, this is just a sideshow, and it will actually amount to just destroying the characters of people at this particular stage. And that's why I can understand the bitterness of the former registrar and many other persons who are in that particular list. Remember, you are innocent until proven guilty. And that is a cardinal principle in criminal law, and even in the Constitution itself, and even international law, so that you cannot there cannot be an affront to that. But based on the principles we have in Chapter 6, it does not say you are innocent. It only says that based on this issue, don't subject yourself first. Let this issue be cleared, or clear your name in terms of any court case that is pending. Then subject yourself to election. That is actually what it says. But if you go ahead and say that now others were allowed to vie, others are not being allowed to vie, it amounts to discrimination.
There's something